I'm Kathy Flaherty, your other MC.
And we're about to get started.
I'm Molly Cole. I'm the Executive Director of the State Independent Living Council. Thank you all for being here to make your statements about disability rights and justice. Yes. But one of our goals in putting all this together was to make this as accessible as possible for everyone. And it has been a challenge, as you all have experienced today, despite the best efforts of everyone, including the Capitol Police, folks within the legislature who really have tried to make this accessible. It's had its challenges. The biggest challenge we've had was in trying to find sign language interpreters, and I am so grateful to co-sign for the two interpreters who came today, because after a month of trying to make this work, they're here today. However, what we want you to know is that in order to make access to sign language interpreters more simple, more streamlined, we would like you to focus on House Bill 541, which will establish the Bureau of Services for Persons who are deaf, hard of hearing, or deaf blind. Your advocacy on this is as important as it is on any other issue. We want to make sure that every time we have these events, we know we can include everybody. And in order to do that, we need access to sign language interpreters. So please make that pitch. Make your voices loud today. Please make your voices loud. Disability rights and justice. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you, Molly. So now we're going to have a musical performance by my colleague at More Than Walking, Corey Pheez. Give it up.
Thank you, John. I appreciate everyone coming out today because we cover very important issues. And I want to just speak to those who not only came out, but those who weren't able to come out because their wheelchair is damaged, is broken, they're waiting on repair. Some of you even today might be here with a little issue or two, but you still found a way to be here. So I'm grateful for your presence. And just overall, we want to make our voices heard so that not only the people watching, but good folks behind us will hear us loudly about the things that we're calling to action to see happen. So, I'm going to perform a song called Reach for the Sky. It's about unlocking our potential, and that skies is only the limit for the things that we're striving for. Suffering produces perseverance. It does. Perseverance carries. Yeah. I hope that I'm on us a shame. Live large, defy odds, break barriers, tall wings to fly on, define character. Strength lies deep inside, bold I carry it. Mountain side still I climb, there's no barrier that can overwhelm, cause we overcame every bright night and even darker days. Topsy-turvy world, like it or not, but downtimes got upsides like 6 o'clock on the dot. Watch us stand brave, unafraid of oppression. We forever face, but meditating our message. School of hard knocks, I haven't forgot a lesson. Graded on some failures, but past with successes. Head held high to the heavens, tally your blessings. Life has challenges, yes, but I accept it. Story sounds better, bouncing back from a deficit. Rise up to the sky, to spaces where you exit. Keep your head up, rest your foot on the pedal and never let up. If they say that you can't, that's when you get up and stand. Show them you can. Baby, you know you got it. Please don't let nothing stop it. What other option but to? And no matter the age, just remember the great. Shout out to Van Gogh for the marginalized. In the margins I rhyme for every patriot and martyr who died. Road pavers and bridge builders who stood on scaffolds told us we could dream and that anything was possible. All so alive, courses moving like an obstacle. Remember every moment confined inside the hospital. Not about me, but the collective we. Every man, woman, and child, I say respectfully. Broken bodies, whole minds, we all designed differently. In this fight together like a brawl, I will say city streets. Protest that freedom ring, justice is our call. It can't just be us, everyone get involved. Until we see change, something like people in times locking arms for the long haul. This journey's begun. Hands get them up, sing along. Warriors champions, all we need is some love to fight on. So just keep your head up, press your foot on the pedal and never get up. If they say that you can't, that's when you get up and stand. Show them you can. Baby, you know you got it. Please don't let nothing stop it. What other option but to? And no matter the hate, just remember your green. Shout out to Savior and stay proud. Chest out, determined, push forward. Breaking down borders for our sons and daughters. Access to order, we redefine normal, standing firm like a brick and mortar store on the corner. Solidified, you and I, unified forces. Combined to the finish line, we shall never forfeit. Crowd chanting like Olympians, blasting torches. From the halls of Congress up to the Oval Office. Change laws, all we cause more than just walking. Precisely why I keep marching on. From Nigeria to Syria to Brazil and Siberia. United States could overtake, we all great, though we disagree. And vigorously, please know you really matter to me. Let's focus on what's more important. Any life can be shortened. From the family to orphan, reach for the orbit. Keep your head up, press your foot on the pedal and never let up. If they say that you can't, that's when you get up and stand. Show them you can. Baby, you know you got it. Please don't let nothing stop it. What other option but to? And no matter the hate, just remember you're great. Shout out to Savior. Continue to reach for the sky everywhere. Present, accounted for, no matter what.
Thank you, Corey. All right, let's give it up one more time for Corey Pheez. Now, we're going to go over the issues that we're talking about today. And just a brief introduction. I myself am a manual wheelchair user since 2006. So 18 years in the chair. I'm a C7 quadriplegic, injured when I was 19. And yeah, life is interesting in the chair, isn't it? Kathy, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Flaherty. I'm the Executive Director of Connecticut Legal Rights Project, but more importantly for today, I am someone who lives with a mental health condition and somebody who has experience in voluntary treatment, which is why the issues today are so important to me personally.
Great, so today we are coming together 4 coalitions. Kathy and I are going to go over the 4 issues. One, SB 308, timely wheelchair repairs at home. I'm also, I run a nonprofit called More Than Walking, and I also am a spokesperson for the Connecticut Wheelchair Reform Coalition, which has taken up this issue in Connecticut. But timely wheelchair repairs is an issue nationwide. There are 2 national private equity-owned companies that own the majority of the wheelchair repair market, and on average, it takes 1 month to get an in-home assessment, 1 month to get an in-home repair, and that is for 90% of the customers here in Connecticut. There's over 5,000 wheelchair users. So this is unacceptable, and it's just gotten worse and worse over the past decade. So SB 308 is going to help change that by being the first, if passed, law that will mandate a timeline requirement for getting in-home repairs and assessments. Can I hear it up for mandates? Yeah. Connecticut would be the leader in the nation in requiring wheelchair repairs to be repaired in 10 days or less. Right? Currently, we're waiting 2 months up to a year or even more in some cases. It's just absolutely extremely unacceptable. So that's SB 308. Another wheelchair-related issue is HB 5200, accessible medical exam equipment. This is being led by the Citizens Coalition for Equal Access, which is run by Ruth. You'll hear from in a second. And that issue is basically there are federal guidelines, right? There are federal guidelines about how doctors' offices and radiology clinics, should be wheelchair accessible, not just getting into the building, but to be able to access an X-ray, to be able to access an MRI, to be able to access a ultrasound machine. And currently, there are no state regulations, and so the state has failed to implement those mandates. And so the only way for you to get an X-ray machine, if you're in a power wheelchair, is to drive halfway across the state to your nearest emergency room, right, in order to get a wheelchair-accessible X-ray machine. And this is making it very challenging, if not impossible, for wheelchair users to get the diagnostic exams they need to live, to stay safe, and this can be a life-threatening situation for any of us. So let's hear it up for HB 5200.
The Keep the Promise Coalition is leading the charge on SB 370, which is for mental health peer respites. Connecticut is actually behind the ball when it comes to peer respites. There are respites in various states across the country. If SB 370 were to pass, what it would do would give us a true alternative to emergency rooms, forced hospitalization, the risk of forced treatment, forced electroshock when you go in a hospital. It would instead create a safe space for people to recover and heal when they're in crisis. So let's give it up for SB 370. And our fourth issue here today is being led by the Stop Husky Health Discrimination Coalition. And this is an issue that we actually thought we had partially fixed last year because the legislature passed a bill and the governor signed it where it would increase the asset limits for Husky C. Husky C is the program for people who are elderly or disabled. It is the only program with asset limits and really, really low income limits. We finally thought that we fixed the income limits. We passed a bill, but they didn't fund it in the budget. So the governor proposed a bill to repeal that change. If we're going to end discrimination, we have to end it. We can't return to it. And that's what his plan would do. There's also a bill, Senate Bill 306, which would increase the asset limits for Husky C, which are incredibly low. People on Husky C have been trying to stay alive since the 70s when this program was started. The income and asset limits haven't changed since the 70s. Has the cost of living gone up since the 70s? It absolutely has. So let's give it up for SB 306.
I mean, it's incredible to think, right, that wheelchair users or people with disabilities, if you've been working all your life, and then you retire, right, and you have to get back on Husky C after being on Medicaid buy-in or something like that, you are forced to get rid of your retirement. You are forced to get rid of your assets that you can pass down to your family, and it's just forced poverty, and it's unacceptable.
I want to just thank the other organizations that have also contributed to supporting this rally. We've got Connecticut Legal Rights Project, Connecticut Coalition on Aging, Black and Brown United in Action, the State Independent Living Council of Connecticut, the Center for Disability Rights, Independence Unlimited, Medicare for All Connecticut, the ARC of Connecticut, the National Alliance on Mental Illness Connecticut.
Oh yeah, Spinal Cord Injury Association of Connecticut, Connecticut Citizen Action Group, Hispanic Health Council, Independence Northwest, Advocacy Unlimited, Connecticut Chapter of National Association of Social Workers, Social Welfare Action Alliance, and More Than Walking. Can we all give it up for all of these organizations represented?
Today's rally is about disability rights and justice. But our U.S. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act more than 30 years ago. So why do we need this? As a society, we have done a good job of naming and affirming the civil rights of our citizens, but a pretty lousy job of enforcing those rights, especially for people who have low incomes or who fall outside of the cultural mainstream in one way or another. This is where the word justice comes in. And today's rally is about health care justice, particularly for people with disabilities. We need state legislation to create policies, procedures, and programs that would ensure civil rights by giving people with disabilities an equal shot at physical and mental well-being. But the 4 bills we are highlighting today are all in danger of not passing. Why? Because they will require relatively moderate expenditures that will exceed the arbitrary fiscal guardrails, the limits on spending that you've already heard about, that Governor Lamont refuses to modify. Adequate wheelchair repair policies will modestly increase Medicaid spending by the state, as will modifying the asset and income limits for Husky C eligibility to end the shameful financial eligibility discrimination against people with disabilities in our Medicaid program. It will also cost some money to establish 8 peer-run respite centers and to pay for accessible medical equipment obtained by state-funded facilities such as Yukon Health. But all 4 of these preventative measures will ultimately result in saving money, as fewer and fewer people with disabilities experience serious and/or chronic health crises brought on by lack of timely access to appropriate care and services. Or is it simply going to be cheaper to ignore civil rights and slowly kill people with disabilities? Over the past few years, disability advocacy organizations have requested meetings with Governor Lamont to try to press the urgency of problems affecting the physical and mental well-being of people with disabilities. And countless times, we have been refused an audience. The many requests have not even been acknowledged. Why? We are all at risk of becoming disabled at some point in our lives. This is an issue that affects every American, and yet so many in power seek to have nothing to do with people with disabilities, especially if there is an upfront cost to addressing their needs.
Oh no!
Yeah, please, feel free to comment. Governor Lamont, wherever you are, ignoring people with disabilities does not make their needs disappear. The voices of people with disabilities must be heard and affirmed, and we are starting today with the lived experiences of our next group of speakers. Governor Lamont, now is the moment to stop dismissing and demeaning the largest minority group in our state and in our country. Governor Lamont, release your precious fiscal guardrails, which are nothing more than handcuffs blocking the ability of the legislature to take care of the needs of disabled folks with money we already have. Please listen and take action. Thank you all for being here.
Governor, hear our call. Your fiscal guardrails kill us all. Governor, hear our call. Your fiscal guardrails kill us all. Governor, Yeah.
So listen, the song that I'm gonna perform is called March On. You know, you got your papers in front of you, you got the lyrics behind there. When you hear March On, I need y'all to repeat that, because that's what we here to do. I mean, if y'all felt that earthquake last week, we should be louder than that, right? You know, so let's go. Yo, yeah, what's going on, world? Not rocking with Pheez, man. Yes, you are. Listen, don't let nobody tell you you can't do something, man. Regardless of your physical capabilities, tilt up. The greatest minds of civilization of all time. Men and women contributed something to mankind. Pioneers blaze trails, open ears and eyes speaking truth. But literally dumb, deaf, and blind having counter. All the activists, bookseller, through signs and wonders gave the world a new perspective. Lecturer, far from regular, influence on us was megara. Where would we be if it wasn't for Vince Vaughn's and Chuck Swans? This goes on, dyslexia. Out from behind you see four. No arms and legs at all. True great motivated like Nick Vucevic. Can't forget Christopher Reeves. Crowned as Superman to me. I brought the fresh air when it's difficult to breathe. The whole for tomorrow like thought you were mean curve. Like Instagram models, examples you should follow. To the drums again, we gon' make it clear. If you ever fear, you just gotta let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing that, you just tell them. Aryan talked to nearest Hungarian to the slaves. She was Moses' son, we had to break her on the chains. Suffered dizziness, she was struck by a weight. While hypothermia didn't prevent her from escape. No, the Hawking gave us insight inside of space. The ALS grip with his face kept it moving, but we disagree on premise of faith. Still I acknowledge how we spoke out when his voice gave way. Home of the brave with veterans, come back from combat, not the same PTSD. Some MBTs are in the grave, wounded warriors, despite what you lack. Still amazed, deserve a hand clap for the many lives you saved. Some stars are prominent, some is dominant. Even though it's scared, always think the obvious. Food for God, grab the plate, kill the talk. For another life is claimed to the parts that's unknown. 10-4 in Mars. To the drums again, we gon' make it clear. If you ever fear, you just gotta let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing that, you just tell them. Some find it hard to read, others it's hard to write. ADHD until the double rockin' mics. Not talk about me, but the Justin Timberlake's of life. Just know that OCD makes your music more precise. Disability unique, almost see all my hype. That quirk is my part of the style of everything in life that makes you hard. I put up a facade, real self-esteem on the walls that die your dog. Dr. Vendetta from Venezuela, yes I'm Latino. Fights for the rights for all of us who disabled. To give us access when we can't roll. So make a middle note when you rockin' that trunk roll. I ain't here to sugarcoat, that's the sweetest day of my life. I'm just a landing on the darker path, providing some light. So next time you spot a hurdle, you think you can't walk, you catch your crutches to the side. Let nothing ever deter you. To the drums again, we gon' make it clear. If you ever fear, come on, you just gotta march on. Let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing that, come on, you just tell them. Disability, injustice, disability, march on. Injustice, disability, injustice, disability, injustice, and continue to march on that, man.
All right, so as Ricky's coming up, you see that, right?
Yo, yeah, what's going on, world? You not rocking with Pheez, man. Yes, you are. Listen, don't let nobody tell you you don't buy something, man. Regardless of your physical capabilities, tilt up. The greatest minds of civilization of all time. Men and women contributed something to mankind. Pioneers blaze trails, open ears and eyes speaking truth. But literally dumb, deaf, and blind, having color. All the activists, no seller. Through signs and wonders gave the world a new perspective. Lecturer, far from regular, influence on us was megara. Where would we be if it wasn't for Vince Vaughn's and Chuck Swans? List goes on, dyslexia. Out from behind you see door. No arms and legs at all. True grit, motivated like Nick Vucevic. Can't forget Christopher Reeves. Ground is Superman with me. I brought the fresh air when it's difficult to breathe. The whole for tomorrow like those you and me curve. Like Instagram models, examples you should follow. To the drums and hit. We gon' make it clear. If you ever fit, you just gotta let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing bad, you just tell them. Harriet talked to nearest Targaryen to the slaves. She was Moses' son, being the breaker of the chains. Suffered dizziness, she was struck by a weight. While hypersomnia didn't prevent her from escape. The hawking gave us insight inside of space. Though ALS grip with his face kept it moving while we disagreed on purpose of faith. Still I acknowledge how we spoke out when his voice came in. Home of the brave with veterans. Come back from combat, not the same PTSD. Some amputees are in the grave, wounded warriors despite what you lack. Still amazed, deserve a hand clap for the many lives you saved. Some stars are prominent, some is dominant. Even though we're scared, always state the obvious. Food for God, grab the plate, can we talk? For another life is claimed to the parts that's unknown. 10-4 in guard. To the drums and hit. We gon' make it clear. If you ever fit, you just gotta let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing bad, you just tell them. Some find it hard to read, others it's hard to write. ADHD until them don't rock and mic. I talk about me, but the Justin Timberlake's alike. Just know that OCD makes your music more precise. Disability unique, almost see all I have. That quirk is not part of the style of every favorite life. That makes you hard, I put up a facade. Real self-esteem on the walls, that now you're gone. Not the better, from Venezuela, yes I'm Latino. Fights for the rights for all of us who disabled. To give us access when we can't roll. So make a middle note when you rockin' that Trump roll. I ain't here to sugarcoat. Never sweet a day of my life. I'm just a landing on the darker path, providing some light. So next time you spot a hurdle, you think you can't walk, you got your crutches to the side. And nothing ever deterred. To the drums and hit. We gon' make it clear. If you ever fit, come on, you just gotta let nothing hold you back. When the people laugh, if they're doing bad, come on, you just tell them. Disability, injustice, disability, injustice, disability, injustice, disability, injustice, and continue to march on that, man.
All right, so as Ricky's coming up, hear our call, your physical guardrails, give us all. Governor, hear our call, your physical guardrails, give us all. Governor, hear our call, your physical guardrails, give us all. Governor, hear our call, your physical guardrails, give us all. All right. All right, Ricky, go ahead.
Guardrails. Just an excuse to continue the discrimination against people with disabilities trying to access health care. Jonathan had mentioned how people who might be on the Medicaid for the employee disabled, who currently pay maybe a premium to access the Medicaid program, and have an income limit of up to $75,000 a year, and an asset limit of $10,000 for a single person, and $15,000 for a couple. I I am one of those people that Jonathan had mentioned who is probably going to have to stop working soon because of my decline due to my disability. And when I do, I'm going to have to dump my lousy $3,000 savings, which is in my savings account, just so I can remain eligible for Husky C, which currently has an asset limit of only $1,600. The income limit currently, I believe, is around $1,100 a month, maybe a little more if I can believe it. If I stop working, my Social Security check is going to be higher than that, and I won't be eligible for Husky C any longer. And I will be suffering trying to figure out how I'm going to get my Medicaid. The guardrails are supposed to be preventing irresponsible spending for the state. Well, these guardrails are preventing responsible spending. And the governor is irresponsible by changing the law, which was passed last year, increasing the income and asset limits for Husky C. So the governor has to change his tone and his mind and be responsible, not irresponsible, in fixing Husky C and meeting the law the way he did last year.
Fix Husky C!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Husky C!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Husky C!
When do we want it?
Now!
Governor, hear our call. Your fiscal guardrails fill us all. Governor, hear our call. Your fiscal guardrails fill us all. Governor, hear our call. Your fiscal guardrails fill us all.
Another thing, I'm tired of waiting 7 months to get freaking wheelchair tires for my chair. 7 months, come on. I can order them myself and get them in 3 days. And I'm tired of going to the dentist office and I can't get on the damn chair to get my teeth fixed.
Thank you, Ricky. Everyone give it up for Ricky. And now we're going to hear from Dr. Cindy Miller.
I am pleased to have been given an opportunity to speak today as a physically disabled retired physician. My status as a retired physician enables me to speak unequivocally and with passion regarding the right of every individual, regardless of degree of disability with which they live, to have a complete physical examination in order that acute issues be accurately diagnosed and that more chronic conditions be fully addressed. Furthermore, screening examinations such as mammography and colonoscopy need to be considered part of the physical examination. With this in mind, it is the right of every person with a disability to undergo such examinations. Most of you are quite familiar with the phrase frequently heard when at a doctor's appointment. Why don't you just step on up to the scale so that we can get a current rate? This is frequently followed by a suggestion that the patient get undressed and hop up onto the table since the doctor will be in shortly. But as you might imagine, the woman you see in front of you, sitting in her wheelchair, could only dream of undressing independently, stepping up onto a scale, and transferring to an examining table. I could write an expose on some of the workarounds that have been attempted. They include, do you know what you weigh? Do you know what you weighed last year? And do you know how much your chair weighs? Or, let's see if we can examine you in your chair. As it happens, I participate with my internist in a teaching session for second-year medical students on disability. While it is not the subject of this discussion, I will add that this session is the first exposure to the concept of disability for this group of students after they have been in school already for a year and a half. But that is another subject for another time. Despite my internet's purported interest in me personally as a disabled colleague, I cannot recall a single year in which he performed all elements of the physical examination of me. Much of which can be attributed to the fact that his examining room in the hospital clinic is not adequately equipped for him to be able. For instance, examines only the front of my lungs and abdomen and completely ignored the back of my lungs and the majority of my skin surface. There exist some simple solutions to the problems I have addressed above. On the federal level, they have been partially described in the Accessible Medical Diagnostic Equipment Technical Standards. These have been partially discussed. A document which was first begun in 2017 and has recently been approved in its entirety by the Department of Health and Human Services. Yet approval of a document has not been accompanied by movement by hospitals or large medical practices to purchase the equipment that would allow for all patients to be examined in their entirety and with dignity. For this reason, HB 5200 has been proposed, allowing for Connecticut to lead the nation in demonstrating how all patients, regardless of underlying disabilities, can be examined completely by requiring the purchase of height-adjustable examining tables with equipment to enable the safe transfer of patients. It is recognized that there will be training of individuals in the correct use of such equipment. Unfortunately, the fiscal guardrails which have been imposed by Governor Lamont will likely prevent the passage of the bill described above. We are all cognizant of the necessity of paying appropriate attention to the revenue streams that finance our wish list. For disabled persons and for their physicians, the requests do not represent anything approaching the outlandish. Rather, the request for a small number of accessible exam tables and weight scales will likely end up not costing money, but saving money, as medical issues can be addressed when they are in their nascent stages where treatment will be relatively inexpensive, rather than allowing patients to go undiagnosed until they present to an emergency facility in extremis. I urge you to stand with me to encourage the passage of HB 5200. It is not too late to begin doing the right thing for the large population of those with disabilities. Thank you.
Wheelchair walker or king, medical equipment for every frame. Wheelchair walker or king, medical equipment for every frame. Wheelchair walker or king, medical equipment for every frame. Governor, governor, hear our call, your fiscal guardrails kill us all. Governor, governor, hear our call, your fiscal guardrails kill us all. Governor, governor, hear our call, your fiscal guardrails kill us all. Thank you. We're going to hear next from Maureen. Give it up.
Connecticut. They are owned by private equity firms that view us, the wheelchair users, not as people, but as a means to make money for their investors. When our wheelchair breaks down, we are the enemy who sucks up all their profits. To mitigate their losses, they operate on a skeleton crew that cannot handle the level of repairs that comes in. Repairs sit for days or weeks not being attended to, or move to the next step. Techs come to their appointments, not knowing why they're there, and they don't have the right parts or tools for the repair, and sometimes the repair is marked complete, or it drops out of the system altogether, and we have to start the process all over again. This results in very lengthy delays. Now, according to these companies, the average wait time is 2 months, but I think all of us here have experienced delays that far exceed this estimate. I myself have waited 4 months for tires, 5 months for a cable to be replaced on my joystick, 8 months for a seatbelt, and nearly 3 years to get foot plates. They say these delays stem from supply chain issues, residual COVID-related delays, and they even blame us, the wheelchair users. When my battery wasn't working, it was not holding its charge, I was told I was probably just not plugging it in properly. And then I got stranded at the DMV because the battery died. When my repair was canceled an hour before the scheduled appointment because they discovered they did not have the correct parts, they said maybe I made a mistake by requesting a repair for the wrong chair. I only have one chair. When my repair request for modified foot plates neared the 2-year mark, it was suggested that I just hadn't done enough to make sure the repair got completed. Despite all their deflections, these companies do admit that the repair delay problem could easily be solved by hiring more technicians. However, as New Motion executive Gary Gilberti said, the cost was too much for them to bear. The cost is too much to bear, but what about the cost to us? A broken wheelchair results in missed work, missed school, medical appointments, a loss of independence, and a loss of quality of life. A broken wheelchair puts us at risk of falls and other injuries. When my wheelchair breaks, I go from living independently to being relegated to my bed and requiring a level of service and care that I do not have access to. 2 months is too long. That is why SB 308 would require repairs to be completed in 2 weeks and establish a stakeholder group to monitor progress and report non-compliance. National Seating and New Motion have demonstrated an inability to self-regulate and have not put in a good faith effort to improve. They are beholden to their investors, not to us, and it's up to the state of Connecticut to hold them to account and take the lead in correcting this national problem. Now, because we don't exist, we don't exist in a vacuum, so, hold on. So I think all of us wheelchair users here not only have repair issues that we deal with, we also have medical accessibility issues. Okay, so my foot plates, it may seem like a small problem. It's been about 3 years, and I still need adjustments. My left foot has deformed to the extent that I can no longer wear shoes. I have swelling, but I can't elevate my feet, and I've developed sores on my legs and feet that require medical attention. I have untreated lymphedema. And now I go to the lymphedema doctor the battle just to take care of my personal needs. It's a fight to do the things that I have to do. I have to fight to do the things that I want to do. And some days I just can't do it. Okay, can you guys relate? Some of you relate? Yeah. So, but in some of these fights are ridiculous. We should not have to fight against our wheelchair providers to keep us safe and independent by providing us with timely repairs. We should not have to fight against our own medical facilities to provide us with accessible equipment to get the care we need. We should not have to fight against our own state government to get the health care that we need. And we should not fight against our government to provide us with alternates to incarceration, hospitalization, or homelessness when we are at our most vulnerable in mental health crisis. And we are fighting, and we are going to keep fighting until we have equal rights and justice for our disabled and mental health communities.
We want to live. People over profits. 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 We want to live.
Hear next from Debbie Schaffer. Raise your voice.
It's so important for people with all different disabilities to have their voices heard. And I'm going to help Debbie today because Debbie has a speech disability.
My name is Debbie Schaffer, and I am area 65 years ago. I was born with the provided and I did from my
My name is Debbie Schaffer, and I live in Unionville. 65 years ago, I was born with cerebral palsy, very limited motor skills, and a speech impairment. I am intelligent, sensitive, and kind, but my disabilities feel like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that never fit.
They were in me one way, and I did my love, and I knew it. We were only outside of me, and they think I don't know anything. In my own head, I know I'm and then made me one in my ear. With me,
People see me one way, and I see myself in another way. People only see the outside of me, and they think that I don't know anything. But in my own head and soul, I know what I'm made of. And it makes me ask, yeah. ask, what am I here for? When people reject me, I feel like nothing. Now I'm going to ask Ruth to read my lived experience about problems with accessibility in doctor's offices. On February 27th of this year, I went to my primary care physician's office for a follow-up visit and was told by the receptionist that his office had moved down the hall. So I went down the hall and checked in. But when I was called in to be seen, the entry door to the exam rooms was too narrow to accommodate my electric wheelchair. I was then sent back up the hall to the original suite of offices. This wasn't the final straw. The next thing to happen is another illustration of why we need HB 5200. I had made the appointment with my doctor to follow up on an allergic reaction to a medication, but I took the opportunity to also... I took the opportunity to also ask the APRN about recent discomfort that I was experiencing in my bladder. Since I was being examined in my wheelchair, the APRN could not give me a full examination and no attempt was made to transfer me to the exam table. This kind of inadequate care has got to be addressed.
Yes!
We have the incredible opportunity to hear from a good friend, ELAINE KOLB, who will read some haiku and then lead us in a sing-along.
Oh my goodness, look at us. Aren't we amazing?
Yes.
It was pouring earlier. And we still came. You know why? Because we're determined. Because our lives matter. And we know that our people deserve a whole lot more than what we've been getting, and I mean in a positive way.
Yes.
So what's going on today? Well, I don't know why, but I'm writing haiku. I've been writing things for years. A lot of you know this, but I've been writing haiku, and here we are. And I was thinking about the governor. So, here we go. Ridicule Vermont. This governor has no clothes. Naked power grab. You know, you've heard about rhinos? Okay. Is Lamont Dino? Democrat in name only? Most donkeys are kind. What kind is Lamont? Maybe we can get his goat. Stop his war on the poor. There's a song that's very deep in me, and the words you have, let's get together. And we're going to sing it together in a minute, but I just want to give you, for those of you who don't know, that this song was the first song I wrote after I was injured. I was injured, stabbed in the back, literally, in 1977. That's how I got my spinal cord injury. Before that, I thought I was really cool, but I didn't know I was ableist. Ableism kills. And we don't even know what it is, most of us, because it's so sneaky and insidious. So anyway, I lived. And after I got out of the hospital, the song that we're about to sing together was the first song I wrote. I was already a songwriter. I was already an activist. But this song was given to me to give to the world, because this is the message that we need to share with each other and among all kinds of people, because guess what? People with disabilities, we are all kinds of people. We are the most inclusive. We are the largest minority, and yet, if you look at a lifespan experience, it's a majority experience. It's a majority experience. So why are we so oppressed? Because of ableism. And because some people make profit from our pain. They make profit from our suffering. And you know what? We can do something about it, and we're doing it. And by golly, we showed up in a pouring storm where it's cold and yucky, and we're here. And I can teach this song to preschool children. Now, I know adults are a little more problematic. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to point to myself, and then I'm going to point to you. So I'm going to say the words, and then you're going to say them after me, right? You know this game, right? Let's get together and work it out. You say, let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. You never know until you try. Let's get together and work it out. Let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get by. We can help each other get by. Okay, now I have instruments over here. Could we have some people help hand some of them out now? I got tambourines and maracas, and we're going to hoop and holler. Pass them out. Who can pass them out? Somebody help pass them out? I do want them back, by the way. Because, you know, I'm one of those people, by the way, that makes too much money to qualify for Medicaid. You know what I mean? And the only reason I make too much money is because I've got the cost of living increase all these years. You know? But they don't raise the cost of living in the state of Connecticut because they choose not to. Because of the guardrails. Hello? The guardrails are killing us. But if we get together and make enough noise and lift our voices together and combine our energies, they can't stop us. We can do it. Let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. Let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get by. We're tired of being shoved to the back of the shelf, forgotten and ignored. We're tired of just sitting and watching TV, seeing things we could never afford. And we know all around there are millions like us, scattered throughout the land. Through too many years and through too many tears, we've needed each other's hand. What do you think we ought to do about that, huh? Are you ready? Oh, let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. Let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get by. Well, some can't walk, some can't talk, some can't hear or see. Whatever other problems some of us have, a big one is society. Teaches you to concentrate on what is lost, not what we still can do. And when they tangle you up in lots of red tape, you could use some help to cut your way through. So let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. So let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get by. Now every day, children are born who need extra help in school. Too many don't get it. They suffer neglect for life, and they are branded a fool. No matter how old or young we are, most of us still can learn. And if you've been lucky all of your life, you never know, it may be your turn. Oh, let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. So let's get together and work it out. We can help each other. One more time, so let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. So let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get friends and alley. Let's get together and work it out. You never know until you try. So let's get together and work it out. We can help each other get by. So let's help each other get by. Together we can do anything.
The system is broken. My name is David Morgana. I had a car accident 27 years ago which resulted in a spinal cord injury. I currently use a manual wheelchair. I'm a long-time disability advocate and recently served on the wheelchair task force. In the past 27 years, I relied on durable medical companies, equipment companies for my wheelchair repair needs. Excuse me. First known as Connecticut Rehab, then the company changed it to ATG, then most recently transformed into what now is known as New Motion. There's also a second company currently known as National Seating Mobility, so in practicality, a duopoly exists in the state. Ever since the private equity-controlled company New Motion has come into existence, customer service has dropped off a cliff. It went from the customer being able to call in locally, setting up an in-home appointment that worked for the customer, that happened in a short period of time, compared to now, when you call in, you get a call center in another state and sometimes even in another country. You're not given a choice of a time for an in-home appointment anymore, and you're told the window of time the day before you either take that time or you leave it. Wait times have increased dramatically as well. Currently, it's a month or more to get an in-home appointment for an evaluation or getting your wheelchair fixed. In addition to that, it's several weeks for parts to come in, so in total, a wheelchair user could be waiting 3 months to get something fixed in their home. New Motion has been manipulating wheelchair users by offering in-shop repairs in a much shorter time frame, within a week versus a month for an in-home appointment. And out of desperation, some wheelchair users are going into the shop. New Motion even says it out loud in wheelchair repair task force meetings and put it in print in their task force responses. Not everyone has a vehicle, not everyone has gas money, not everyone can get out of their chairs unassisted if they could even get to the shop, or the wheelchair is not able to be transported to the shop just because it's not possible. I just went through a repair myself. I was lucky enough to get a phone evaluation. That cut 30 days off the process. Then it took 3 weeks to get parts to come in. And then I was told if I wanted to get an in-home repair, it was going to take 33 days. I repeat, 33 days. So in total, it would have been 2 months for me from when I started the process and then waited for an in-home repair. That just wasn't acceptable at all. It was ridiculous. So I took the in-shop repair, so that cut time off. This is what New Motion is counting on to increase their profits. The desperation of wheelchair users that have already been waiting a month or more, who can't wait another month for an in-home appointment. We need our wheelchairs and for them to be fixed in a timely manner. When the DMA companies make us wait months to get our wheelchairs fixed, they are stealing our freedom away, they are stealing our independence away, and are robbing us of the ability to live our lives to the fullest potential. I can't help but feel that I'm being held hostage. I'm stuck in a dysfunctional relationship inside a broken system controlled by corporate interests. The current situation is unsustainable. SB 308 in its current form simply does not address the issues identified by the Wheelchair Task Force or our urgent needs. That's why our group of advocates came up with new language for SB 308 to address the issues and concerns of wheelchair users. We have proposed common sense and reasonable changes and amendments. That language was sent to the Human Services Committee by Jonathan Sigworth. I urge legislators to adopt the advocates' proposed changes and to support our efforts to make life easier for thousands of Connecticut wheelchair users and their families. Thank you.
Broken wheels, broken trust, timely repairs, it's a must. Broken wheels, broken trust, timely repairs, it's a must.
Now I'd like to call up, hello everyone, my name is Hackett. I am a person with disabilities. I want to thank all of the other speakers and everyone who has come out here today in this terrible weather, very cold, very rainy, in solidarity with ending the blatant discrimination against people with disabilities. We fixed the income limits for Husky C last session, but not the asset limits. Now the governor wants to disregard even that partial victory. He wants to repeal the law he just signed into law last session. Yes, why? Why would the governor reinstate discrimination against people with disabilities or those over 65? My income is more than the Husky C income limits now. Effective October 1st of this year, I will qualify as the law is written. If the governor gets his way to change the law, I will not qualify for Husky C. Why will we continue to allow older people and people with disabilities to be discriminated against? Is this fair? No. If we were any other category of the marginalized population, would this type of discrimination be tolerated? No. The only reason provided by the governor or his budget for this proposal is that not enough money was budgeted for the new law last year, and we can't budget more because we need to live within these artificial fiscal guardrails. These guardrails prevent us from being able to spend the huge surpluses the state has. But here's the result of that cruel proposal. If I do not have Husky C, I will continue to go deeper into debt because Medicare does not cover the glasses I need every year, well now every 6 months, or the dental work I had to have done, all of which are covered under Medicaid. My specialized glasses do cost about $1,000 a year, and the dental work I had to have done was over $1,000 as well. Not having Medicaid coverage, I used my Care credit card to pay for these. Excuse me while I turn the page. I do have psoriatic arthritis and fibromyalgia, so I'm having trouble moving my hands. Care Credit is a credit card used specifically for medical expenses. It used to be that larger purchases would be free financing for 2 years. That has changed to 6 months. If you do not pay off the full amount owed during the promotion period, you will be charged the full interest amount from the very beginning. My current balance is $2,129. I used to see this card as a blessing so I would be able to pay for the things I absolutely needed that Medicare did not cover. Now I see this as predatory since they changed the promotional period terms. If the governor goes back to discriminate against people with disabilities with the legislature's approval, I will continue to go deeper into debt. But if the law stays as is, I will qualify for Husky C and be able to get coverage for vision, dental, hearing, and many other medical needs that Medicare does not cover. Is this fair?
No!
Is this just?
No!
Tell Governor Lamont not to reinstate discrimination against people with disabilities and those over 65. Tell the governor to do away with the guardrails and take care of the people of this state. We called upon you last session for a just and moral budget and did not fully get it. We are here telling you we will not quietly stand by and allow you to reinstate the discrimination against people with disabilities. Thank you.
Fair and square, raise the limit, show you care. Equal care, fair and square, raise the limit, show you care.
Hey, ho, ho, fiscal guardrails gotta go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Fiscal guardrails gotta go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Fiscal guardrails gotta go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Fiscal guardrails gotta go!
Great, all right, now we're gonna hear from Gary Gros. Give it up.
Hi, my name's Gary Gros, and boy, it's a cold out here today. I'm really glad to be here. I have a couple of things to say. Like Jonathan and a couple other people we're talking about new motion. This wheelchair had a tilt that I'm in, and it broke. And it took several months for them to fix the tilt. They told me they could not get the parts in. Finally, they got the parts in, but it took quite a while for it to get the tilt. Now I have the new tilt, but I have a multiple disability. I have cerebral palsy, and I'm totally fine. So I have trouble using this tilt myself. For those people who don't probably every here knows how to tilt, but if you don't, I'm gonna have you remember how to do it.
Just leave them on. Yeah.
You have the...
Tilting! There you
That's
go,
cool.
tilting! You can tilt with the festival. Yeah, we love you!
Healthcare justice, that's our aim. Accessible equipment must be the game.
Healthcare justice, that's our aim. Accessible equipment must be the game. Healthcare justice, that's our aim. Accessible equipment must be the game.
Healthcare justice.
That's our aim. Accessible equipment must be the game.
Now I'd like to invite up Tom Burr to talk about peer run respite.
All right, thank you, Kathy. I have some good news to share, by the way. I'm the last speaker. So we can get moving and get out of the cold. I'm here to talk about peer run respite. This is a model that is already in existence in like 15 other states. There's like 40 or 50 already in existence, some over a decade. This is not a new model. It's been proven to work. And to really illustrate the value of it, I have to tell my son's story really briefly. And he was a senior in high school when he developed a serious mental health condition. And he went from being a bright, promising student who was getting ready to graduate and go off to college to being, at times, homeless and just a complete mess with a bipolar disorder. And his mother and I didn't know what to do. But in the process of going through all this, of course, as you might imagine, he was hospitalized several times. And in that process, at times, he was forcibly medicated against his will, and at other times forcibly restrained, to the point where even if he wasn't doing well, he had no interest in going to the hospital, because frankly, it didn't work for him. In fact, it traumatized him even more and made the illness even worse. Now, I'm not here to throw inpatient hospitalization under the bus. It does work for some people, but I just found out yesterday that there is one study out there. Now, it wasn't inpatient hospitalization, it was an outpatient program. But do you want to guess the percentage of people that find even an outpatient involuntary program valuable? It's like 25%. That means 3/4 of the people don't get value from it. In fact, they find it unhelpful and at times traumatizing. So we need alternatives. We absolutely need better alternatives. And the beauty of peer-run respite is we will have less trauma because there are no locked doors, there's no forced medication, it's completely open, people can come and go as they want. If they have to go to work, they can go to work. Some people, if they're inpatient in a locked ward, they lose their jobs because they can't show up for work. Some of them will then lose their housing. It's not a great solution for everyone. And again, the numbers we get from the places that are already doing this work, many people who go through a peer-run respite go through one time and never have to be through a respite again, let alone an inpatient hospitalization. So we get better results. And the beauty of this, we've all heard about the mental health crisis. We know there are log jams in emergency rooms and inpatient hospitalizations. People get boarded in emergency rooms for days because there's no beds. Well, this can help free some of that up. It can also free up not only inpatient hospitalizations, but for some people, and as someone who has run a family support group for 15 years, I hear these types of stories often. Some people, because of their illness, end up doing things in public that get them arrested. And they end up getting incarcerated. Imagine if we had a better place for people to go instead of a jail or a prison. Imagine the money we would save as a state. The money, by the way, is not minor. The average inpatient hospital stay here in Connecticut is over $40,000. The average stay at a peer-run respite is a little over $3,000. If we get this bill passed, SB 370, which I'm hoping the legislature will pass, and I'm hoping our governor will sign, even though it has a fiscal note, so again, guardrails, we have the potential, if we get all these 8 respites built, to save the state somewhere in the order of $25 to $30 million to save. For that. So not only does this make great sense for the people who are most directly affected, it saves the state money, but more important, as Jordan alluded to earlier, it can save lives. The suicide rates for people coming out of an inpatient psychiatric hospital are over 100 times the average. Can you imagine? The peer-run respite community doesn't see anything like that. In fact, it's very, very rare that anyone coming out of a peer-run respite then takes their own life, because they're talking to peers, they're talking to people with real lived experience that understand this world, and hook them up in a very non-threatening, low-key, therapeutic way to the services that will actually help them. So, let's pass SB 370. Governor, are you listening? You need to sign the bill. Thank you.
Sign the bill! Sign the bill! Sign the bill!
All right, thank you.
Forced treatment is not okay. We need peer
love it.
I love you already. I want you to know that I think you and I make a dynamic double bill. You can see the family. You can see the family resemblance.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm a little ahead of you in some way. Just an age. Just an age. I'm 74.
I thought you just got your license.
Oh, you're the man. Seriously, this ableism is what we need to fight, yes?
I think that's a fact.
That is a fact. And I absolutely agree, and some people will say that racism is a public health issue, and I couldn't agree more. What people haven't caught on to is that ableism is a public health issue, and they're killing us legally.
This is true, and you know, for me, I'm a veteran of 19 years. I've been paralyzed, and some of the issues that have come up, I've seen personally, even within the Veterans Administration. I don't know how many countless times I've gone in, and they say the same thing to me, and it's been nearly 20 years. How do you transfer? I'm like, you should know that. Like, you helped get me to my rating and being able to receive benefits. You should know that.
Could you look at the chart?
I mean, could you look at the chart? I mean, I've been here quite a few times, and the problem never seems to get fixed. There's still inaccessibility. There's still issues, and even, you know, as vast as the VA can be and expansive, I've had delays in my wheelchair being repaired. So if I'm going through it, I can only imagine what some of you have experienced, where you wait months at a time, you're not able to get the cushion that you need, which leads to secondary issues. And now, not only are you bedridden, but you're bedridden inside of someone's hospital, and it costs 10 times as much as if you just got the $65, $90 cushion right on time in the first place, and you're able to do the pressure releases and all the things that you need to do. So, you know, for me, this has definitely been an eye-opening experience, and I really hope that, you know, the people behind us in this building, they were rocked by our presence today, that they felt every chant, every cheer, every voice that sung loudly, because we need to see these changes immediately, not waiting. We wait enough. Waiting for your caregiver.
Everything we're talking about today, though, should have been settled with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
It hasn't been enforced.
Well,
they're cutting back on everything.
And it's to your point, like you said, who's really making the laws? Are we at the table?
We don't even count. We're expendable. If they can't make money off of us, we're expendable. But we want to live.
That's a fact.
Another haiku. Let's get together. Combine energies. Unite. We all want to live. Everyone matters. Disability, justice. Together, we rise.
Round of applause for them.
We want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live now, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Now there's different verses, and I'm going to read them. Mother Earth lives in us, and then Peter Respite now, and let's just Husky see, and goes on like that. You got the words, or I'll just holler them out. Are you ready? Mother Earth lives in us, we want to live. Mother Earth lives in us, we want to live. Mother Earth lives in us, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Let's say it. We want to live, yes, we want to live. Oh, we want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, yes, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Here, respite now, we want to live with here. Respite now, we want to live. Here, respite now, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. To the chorus. We want to live, yes, we want to live. Oh, we want to live. We want to live. We want to live, yeah, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Let's fix Husky, we want to live. Let's fix Husky, we want to live. Let's fix Husky, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Let's do verse 4. I'm getting tired. Medics and accessible, we want to live. Medics and accessible, we want, tell me now. Medics and accessible, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. To the chorus, we want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, we want to live. We want to live, yeah, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Wheelchair repairs at home, we want to live. Wheelchair repairs at home, we want to live. Wheelchair repairs at home, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Verse 6. Choices and equity, we want to live. Choices and equity, we want to live. Choices and equity, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. All right, let's do the chorus. We want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, yes, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. You know what we need? Universal health care, we want to live. Universal health care, we want to live. Universal health care, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. You understand now? We want to live, yes, we want to live. We want to live, we want to live. We want to live, yeah, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. We want to live, yeah, we want to live. We want to live, we want to live. We want to live, yeah, we want to live. Together now, we all want to live. Together we can do anything.
This letter actually was already sent on Friday by the Connecticut Cross Disability Alliance by coordinator Molly Cole, and the letter says the Cross Disability Alliance lifespan. You know the name. Cross Disability Lifespan Alliance represents a broad cross-section of disability-related groups concerned with a broad set of disabilities in Connecticut. Molly says, I'm writing to you on behalf of the entire alliance to urgently request a meeting to discuss the need to address certain needs of our member organizations' constituents, namely the need to, and then it describes the 4 issues we're here about today. And then it says, each of these essential needs are likely to go unaddressed right now as a direct result of your insistence that there be no flexibility in the fiscal guardrails. It didn't say which equal handcuffs, but that's what it is. Despite the very large surpluses available, which would fully address each of these needs and others of concern to our members and other marginalized groups. Because time is of the essence. Just 3 weeks from the end of the session, we respectfully request a meeting to occur with a few of our members no later than Wednesday, April 17th. That was yesterday. Please get back to me, Molly, on Monday, April 15th. That was Monday, with a time that will work for you and your staff within that time frame. Thank you respectfully. Molly Cole, have you heard anything in response to the letter?
No! Governor, hear our call! Your fiscal guardrails kill us all! Governor, hear our call! Your fiscal guardrails kill us all!
So maybe it's time to go on over and ask to speak with the governor, because he did respond to Molly's letter, but maybe if a large enough group of people goes on over there on the third floor, take the elevator, maybe he might come out and talk to us, but at least it'll be reported that we were there to see it. And some of our friends in the media may be coming to join us as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you everyone for coming today.
The state of Connecticut financially is in a good place. We have an excess of $650 million that